Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. Today we're talking about Google, the Pentagon, and what might be one of the more ironic stories in AI policy this year.
Yeah, I read this one twice because the irony is genuinely hard to process. So let me just set the table quickly.
Please do, because I think a lot of people missed the Anthropic backstory that makes this so strange.
Right, so back in March, the Pentagon blacklisted Anthropic, called it a supply chain risk. The reason was Anthropic refused to sign a contract covering all lawful purposes without carve outs for domestic mass surveillance and fully autonomous weapons.
Which honestly sounds like a pretty reasonable thing to want written into a contract.
You'd think so. But the Pentagon's position was no vendor gets to set policy. Congress makes the rules, not the AI company.
And now Google is trying to get into those same classified networks, the ones Anthropic was just pushed out of.
Exactly. But here is the part that gets interesting. Google is reportedly asking for the exact same two restrictions: no domestic mass surveillance, no autonomous weapons without human oversight.
Wait, so Google is negotiating for the same carve-outs that got Anthropic blacklisted?
The same ones, word for word, apparently. The difference is how they're going about it. Anthropic made those conditions non negotiable up front. Google is treating them as a negotiating ask.
Is that actually a meaningful distinction, or is that just a difference in style?
It matters a lot for the outcome. Anthropic's approach forced a confrontation. Google's approach leaves the Pentagon a way to say yes while saving face.
And Google has a lot more runway to negotiate from. They already have 3 million Pentagon workers on unclassified Gemini. They aren't coming in cold.
Right, they spent a year building up that relationship. GenAI.mil launched in December. They had 1.2 million unique users by March. The classified network bid is the next logical step.
I want to talk about the 2018 thing because I think it matters here. Google walked away from Project Maven. That was a real moment.
It was. Around 3,100 employees signed a letter. Google didn't renew the contract. And there was this internal understanding that Google wouldn't build AI for warfare.
And now they have quietly reversed all of that. How did that happen?
Gradually, and then all at once, honestly. By 2025, the restrictions were gone. They signed the prototype contract with the Pentagon with Anthropic, OpenAI, and xAI. Announced Gemini for government, got on GenAI.mil at launch.
And employers are pushing back again. I saw the letter numbers, over 100 internally, and then a joint letter with OpenAI workers.
430 people total on the joint letter. But the organizers themselves are saying the fight is different now. It's not get Google out of defense, it's make sure Google keeps some limits.
That's a significant shift in what they think is achievable.
It is. The company's direction has already changed. The question now is how much the employees can influence the terms, not whether the deal happens at all.
So if the Pentagon accepts Google's safeguard language, what does that mean for the Anthropic situation?
That's the real question. If the Pentagon signs a deal with Google that includes those two restrictions, then the Anthropic blacklisting starts to look less like a policy line and more like a negotiating breakdown.
Because the substance would be the same. Google gets what Anthropic asked for, just by asking nicely instead of refusing.
Exactly. Anthropic's positions get validated, but Anthropic loses the business. That's a rough outcome.
And Anthropic's legal fight is still going. They got a preliminary injunction, but lost the appeals court extension in April.
So classified Claude deployments are in a phase out. Palantir, AWS, those channels are winding down over the next few months. Google's talks are happening right in that window.
The timing really is not subtle, as the article puts it. What should people be watching for here?
The safeguard language. If Emil Michael signs a deal that includes the mass surveillance and autonomous weapons carve-outs, that's the signal. It'd mean the Pentagon's actual red line was never about the substance of those restrictions at all.
And that would be a real answer to what the Anthropic blacklisting was actually about.
Right, we don't have that answer yet, but we should get it soon, one way or another.
Thanks for breaking that down, Maya. If you want the full backstory on the Anthropic blacklisting and the legal fight, we have covered every step of it at awesomeagents.ai. We will link everything in the show notes. See you next time.